In the 1960s, tractor engineering was at its boldest, and some machines built in that era were decades ahead of their time. From rare prototypes that could outpull anything on the field, to innovative designs that vanished before the world truly noticed their brilliance, today we're uncovering 10 forgotten tractors from the 1960s that weren't just good, they were genius. And trust me, number 7 will make you wonder why it ever disappeared. Number 1. DOE Triple D, DOE Dual Drive. The DOE Triple D, also called the DOE Dual Drive, was one of the most unconventional and eye-catching tractors to roll onto British farmland in the 1960s. Built by Ernest Doe & Sons Limited in Essex, it wasn't just a tractor, it was 2 tractors fused into one. Ernest Doe's engineers literally took 2 Fordson major tractor front halves, removed their rear ends, and mounted them back-to-back on a custom articulated turntable steering frame. This resulted in a twin-engine, 4-wheel drive monster capable of delivering anywhere from 100 to 150 horsepower, depending on the model year and Fordson variant used. In an era when most tractors struggled to push beyond 60 HP, the Triple D was a revelation. Farmers could suddenly pull massive plows, deep cultivators, and heavy drills without overloading the tractor's powertrain. Its size, power, and ability to articulate made it a beast in high drawbar applications, particularly in heavy clay soils and large arable fields. However, the Triple D was a niche machine, expensive to buy, overpowered for many small farms, and mechanically complex due to its twin engines requiring perfectly synchronized operation. Despite these limitations, the Triple D carved a place in British farming history as one of the most brilliant but bizarre engineering solutions of its time. Today, surviving examples are collector's treasures, often showcased at vintage tractor rallies where they still turn heads. Number 2. International Harvester B275 and B2050. The International Harvester B275, produced from 1958 to 1968, was one of those humble workhorses that rarely makes the headlines, but quietly transformed small-scale farming. Built at IH's Doncaster plant in the UK, it was an evolution of the earlier B250 model, which debuted in 1955. I had been a major force in large tractors, but had long struggled to produce a compact, affordable utility tractor for mixed farms, orchards, and smaller holdings. The B275 filled that gap perfectly. Powered by either a 37 HP diesel engine or a petrol variant, it featured live hydraulics, a 3-point linkage, and a straightforward 8-speed gearbox. Its reputation rested on rugged reliability. Farmers knew that even in cold, damp conditions, the B275 would start and keep running. It could handle a range of tasks, plowing small fields, powering threshers, or running stationary equipment via its PTO. While it never achieved the fame of larger IH tractors like the Farmall series, the B275 and its older sibling, the B250, became unsung heroes of 1960s British agriculture. They were dependable, economical, and adaptable, qualities that earned them a place in countless farmyards, even if history books don't shout about them. Number 3. Allis-Chalmers Fuel Cell Tractor, 1959. Long before Tesla and modern electric tractors became fashionable, Allis-Chalmers was experimenting with futuristic propulsion. In 1959, the company unveiled something truly radical, a fuel cell-powered tractor. This machine was driven by a 20-horsepower electric motor powered by 1,008 individual fuel cells arranged in a series. The cells generated electricity by combining hydrogen and oxygen, producing only water as a byproduct, making the tractor completely emissions-free. At a time when most tractors were belching diesel smoke, this was a quiet, clean marvel. The fuel cell tractor was ahead of its time, not only in agriculture, but in engineering history. In fact, the research and technology from this project directly influenced NASA's fuel cell systems for the Apollo space program. Unfortunately, in the late 1950s and 1960s, fuel cell technology was far too expensive and complex for commercial farming. The prototype was eventually gifted to the Smithsonian Institution, where it remains as a testament to agricultural innovation that came decades too soon. Number 4. International Harvester HT341 Turbine Tractor. If the fuel cell tractor was science fiction, then the International Harvester HT341 turbine tractor was straight out of a jet propulsion lab. Built in 1961, this was a one-off prototype powered by a turboshaft turbine engine, the kind of technology you'd expect in a helicopter, not a plowing machine. The turbine produced 85 horsepower at an astonishing 57,000 RPM, which then had to be stepped down through gearing to make it useful for farm work. The advantages? Incredible power-to-weight ratio, fewer moving parts than a piston engine, and the ability to run on a variety of fuels. But the drawbacks were equally impressive. It was extremely loud, drank fuel like a thirsty camel, and required ultra-clean air filtration to prevent turbine damage. For dusty farm environments, that was a major headache. The HT341 never made it past the prototype stage, but it stands as a fascinating footnote in IH's history. A bold experiment that proved farmers could technically plow fields with jet engine technology. Number 5. Cockshut 540. From Ontario, Canada came the Cockshut 540, built between 1958 and 1962. It was a stylish, mid-sized utility tractor designed by none other than Raymond Loewy, the legendary industrial designer behind the Coca-Cola bottle and the Studebaker Avanti. Powered by a 34-horsepower Continental gasoline engine, the 540 featured a 6-speed transmission, adjustable rear wheels, and a 3-point hitch, making it versatile for plowing, cultivating, and transport work. Its squared-off bodywork gave it a modern look compared to the rounded designs of its competitors. The 540 was aimed at smaller farms and light-duty work, but it entered the market just as North American farms were shifting toward larger, more powerful tractors. Built in relatively small numbers, it quietly disappeared from production, leaving behind a loyal but limited following. Today, it's a sought-after collectible among vintage tractor enthusiasts who admire its combination of utility and design sophistication. Number 6. Minneapolis Moline Constellation Series Jetstar 4-star. The Minneapolis Moline Constellation Series, introduced in 1959, was the company's attempt to bring bold styling and modern engineering to mid-sized tractors. The lineup included models like the Jetstar and 4-star, which featured sleek sheet metal, stylish grills, and 6-cylinder engines, delivering impressive torque for their size. These tractors were particularly notable for their distinctive paint schemes, often in bright prairie gold and red accents, which made them stand out in the field. The Constellation series marked a transitional period for Minneapolis Moline just before it merged into the White Motor Corporation family. While technically sound and visually striking, these tractors faced stiff competition from bigger brands like John Deere and IH. They didn't survive long in the market, but for collectors, the Jetstar and 4-star represent a golden era of design meets function in American tractor manufacturing. Number 7. Massey Ferguson 135. Launched in 1964, the Massey Ferguson 135 quickly became one of the most successful small to medium tractors ever built, with over 400,000 units produced worldwide. Powered by a reliable 45 Hichet Perkins diesel engine, or petrol variants, it offered a 6-speed manual transmission, later supplemented by a multi-power option for extra versatility. The 135's real brilliance lay in its simplicity and reliability. It could handle almost any task a mixed farm threw at it, plowing, baling, spraying, or hauling, without breaking the bank. Its 3-point hitch and live PTO made it compatible with a wide range of implements, ensuring it was never idle. Ironically, its huge success has masked its innovation. Because the 135 was so common, many forget how advanced it was for its time, offering a perfect blend of power, ease of use, and longevity. Number 8. Massey Ferguson 35. The MF-35, produced until 1964, was the predecessor to the MF-135 and the tractor that truly cemented Massey Ferguson's global reputation. It introduced the multi-power shifting system, allowing operators to change speeds without clutching, an innovation that increased efficiency in field operations. With its 44.5 HP diesel or petrol engine and robust build, The MF-35 was a flexible machine that could serve dairy farms, arable farms, and everything in between. Its influence was so great that many MF-35s are still working today, especially in developing countries where their rugged simplicity is a major asset. While overshadowed by the commercial success of the 135, the MF-35 deserves recognition as the model that laid the groundwork for Massey Ferguson's dominance in the 1960s and beyond. Number 9. General Electric Elec-Trak. At the very tail end of the 1960s, General Electric released the Elec-Trak, the world's first commercially produced electric garden tractor. Though smaller than full-scale farm tractors, it was revolutionary for home and light agricultural use. Running on battery power, the Elec-Trak was quiet, clean, and capable of mowing, snow blowing, and tilling, thanks to its interchangeable electric attachments. In an age when electric mobility was virtually non-existent, GE's bold experiment proved that zero-emission power tools could be practical. While it never achieved mainstream success due to high costs and limited range, the Elec-Trak built a cult following. Many are still running today, maintained by enthusiasts who appreciate its ahead-of-its-time engineering. Number 10. David Brown, 50D. In the early 1960s, British manufacturer David Brown built one of its most powerful and imposing machines, the 50D. Launched in 1953 and produced into the early 60s, the 50D was a massive heavy-duty tractor aimed squarely at large farms and contractors who needed serious pulling power. Under the hood sat a 6-cylinder diesel engine producing around 65 horsepower, impressive for its day. Its size and weight gave it immense traction, making it a favorite for heavy plowing, deep cultivation, and road haulage. The 50D was also known for its distinctive, almost locomotive-like stance, with a long bonnet and tall rear wheels giving it a commanding presence in the field. However, its sheer size and power made it impractical for many smaller farms, and by the mid-1960s, lighter, more versatile tractors were becoming the norm. As a result, the 50D quietly disappeared from production, remembered mostly by those who worked it hard in the era of big, slow, and unshakable farm workhorses. Today, surviving 50Ds are prized by collectors for their rugged build, unmistakable looks, and the nostalgia they carry from a time when bigger really did mean better. And there you have it, 10 forgotten tractors from the 1960s that proved the farming world has always been full of innovation, creativity, and pure mechanical genius. Which one of these do you think deserves a modern comeback? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, hit that like button, subscribe for more rare tractor history, and ring the bell so you never miss another deep dive into the machines that shaped our farms. Until next time, keep those engines running and the history alive.